May the circle be unbroken. Today's talk is called One for All and All for One, because there's only one here in many different forms. There is only oneness expressing. It looks like a lot of different people here with different bodies and different agendas and things going on in our brains and our thoughts. But there's only one spirit here. It just comes in lots of different forms, doesn't it? That's the main message of oneness that Jesus came to bring us and teach us. We started off 5 weeks ago with the thought from Eckhart Tolle from his inspirational cards, which tells us that we're here to become an alchemist, yes? To change what? Base metallic mental ignorances into illuminating golden moments and opportunities to awaken to who we are. That's what we're here for. We're here to turn our suffering into existence, consciousness, and bliss. We're here to turn the disaster that is our lifetime alone, apart, dreaming ourselves separate from God, to awakening to who we are. Everything then becomes an opportunity to practice. That's what we're doing here. Today we'll be using this particular spiritual tool to get you straight. But I don't want to go there yet. I want to play with my new device, which I'm sure I'm going to mess up royally. I have my own clicker, my own remote. It's going to be scary now. Are you ready? Lesson summation point number 1. It works when, we've said throughout this series, when one realizes that one is the universe, complete and at one with all existence, consciousness, and bliss, forever without end. One begins to use each day's energies for a very different purpose. Very different. Your nervous system, attached to your brain, is the superhighway of awakening to the presence of oneness within you. Some call that highway the 7 chakras. Charles Fillmore said it was the 12 powers of man. It doesn't matter. It's saying this. This is Swami Muktananda. This is God dwelling in you as you. God dwells in me as me. Let's say that. God dwells in me as me. That's how God gets to be here, through each one of us. Within you exists the entire universe in miniature. Every time you release tension in your body and realize you're oneness with God, you have just helped the whole universe remember that truth. You think you're doing it just for yourself, but you're not. You're doing it for everybody. There's no individual work to be done here. What is done for the one is done for the all. Because, my friends, it's all for one and one for all. Do you remember, we're done with that, this torturous device called a Ma roller from the 70s? Anyone, Bueller, anyone know this device? Only one person knows this device. This is a torture device for you to get through your pain and suffering. What you do with it is you work with your spinal column. Can we have Lisa, who has the most perfect spine in our group? Can she come forward, please, and demonstrate? Lisa, take your clothes off and show us your spine. Do not be naked or ashamed. This is the house of the Lord. So we are literally spinal columns attached to a brain. That's what we are. No matter how good you look, and baby, you look good. That's what you are. You are a spinal column attached to a brain. And you have 7 or 12 powers. This energy flows up the spine and goes to the brain and illuminates you. You may be seated, you lovely thing. That's my favorite spinal column right there. That's good. So when you work on any part of yourself, you work on all of us together. So the work we do with these teachings helps us do that. So with this torturous device, you lie down on the floor, and if I could, I would, but I would never get up. And you lie down on it like this, and you slowly move it up your spinal column. You don't move until you've completely relaxed at every vertebrae. And then when you finally let go of the tension, do you feel it? Literally, the vertebrae opens up. And space exists in consciousness and bliss. You begin to experience energy that was always there, but you're not aware of it because you're so tight with the tension. And then what do? You move up to the next vertebrae. And you do the same darn thing. Tissue. Oh my God, I can't stand it, I can't stand it. And there you are. Oh, it's gone. Then what do? Oh, you do it again and again and again and again. Oh my Lord, how many times must I release this tension? 70 times 70? This is what we do. The work that we do for releasing that tension in us helps release the tension in the world. So all of our spiritual practices are practices designed as spiritual tools to help us release the tension and realize our oneness. That's all we're doing. We're not making oneness up. It's there. We're allowing our body to relax into it. That's what every spiritual master brought. Teachings to help us work with the pain and the anger and the guilt and the shame in us. Because if we don't deal with it, we project it onto others. And our religion becomes another way to beat each other up, right? Because we're not dealing with the stuff inside of ourselves. So when you're dealing with it in yourself, you release these energies, you become a fully alive, awake human being who's owning their pain and tension and anger and guilt and shame inside of themselves. And that's the work that we are here to do. That's what Jesus did to show us. I'm going to show you, no matter what they do to me, no matter how they persecute me, I'm going to give you a different interpretation. I will not give anyone any energy around attack consciousness. I will deal with it in myself. And I'll give you the opportunity to do the same thing. That's what we're here to do. So who are you then? Well, you're Jesus, the Christ consciousness, going into Jerusalem. You've gathered yourself, you're on top of the donkey, you're wild, untamed nature, and you're going in to bring oneness to the world. You go into the temple. What do we have to do when we're in the temple? We turn the tables over. You clear up your desktop. You get rid of files that don't belong there anymore, that are not part of you. And then you go and you gather your, what I call your 12 best friends, the 12 powers of man. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, all those guys, power, faith, zeal, enthusiasm, you get them all together. They're not perfect friends, well, believe me. None of anybody here has any perfect friends. But they do remind you of your possible awakening. They do embody that for you. So he's telling his friends he needs their help. And then he went to the cross to suffer and forget and awaken and remember. We all go to the cross to suffer. Sometimes we forget, and then we use the same thing to awaken. And the greatest technique and tool for doing that on this planet, to release it all, is the wonderful technique called forgiveness. That's what Jesus did. If you can truly forgive, you can move it up and down the spine and feel the energy of divine without even having to think about it. You'll just be there working on this, and it'll work miracles through you. Through you. So you think that Jesus would be done, as I sometimes think I'm done. It takes me about an hour to go through all my chakras, my energy centers, my spine. I stand up and I go, I got it now. You know how you feel after you leave this service? I know the truth. I am not going to forget it again. I am not going to project it again. I'm not going to reject it again. I got the tool to stay awake. Then you go to sleep, and phooey, you wake up and the whole darn thing repeats itself in another wonderful day. All the tension is back. Wait a minute, I just got rid of that. And the massage is already over. It's back again. Yep, and then you do the same thing. You take the spiritual practice and you start using it again. Over and over and over again. The only thing you have is you'll reach for the tool quicker. And you'll use it on yourself rather than beat somebody up with it. So that's what Jesus was doing all that time. He went into the tomb because he wasn't done yet. Even with total forgiveness, there were subtle places of anger in him as there are in us. Slight irritations that become intense rages. Annoying side glances. You think no one's recording this? This talk is so silly, it's stupid. This traffic light. The poor body gets deposited with all of that. Just, no, below there. More, by the end of the day, you're like, oh my God, I feel like I've been riding on that donkey bareback with no spine. Yow, ow, everything hurts. You do it again. And that's what Jesus was doing. He was in the tomb, he closed the door to the outer room, to the world of appearances. He shut the door. And he went and he dealt with all of the remaining energies of forgetfulness, all the tensions that we carry in our body. He totally released them. And when you do totally release them, no more need for outer tools. You don't even need a body anymore. And then there's the spinning chakras that you're awakened to. And you are now a spiritual being, fully alive in a way. Paul said that you have a spiritual body, you have a physical body. As you have a physical body, you have a spiritual body. And so Jesus is totally illuminated. And Mary, who loves him and adores him, doesn't see him. Not yet. Not yet. Not till he taps her on the shoulder. I'm not a carpenter. I'm not just a man. I'm not your mother or your father or your great teacher. I'm a spiritual being. Mary, I'm here. And she gets it. She gets it. And he says, I want you to tell my disciples who won't believe me now that they're going to finish my work for me. My 12 best friends are going to do this work for me, and I'm going to visit them each in a perfect way. Just the way they need me to come. They can touch me on the side, they can hit me. And I don't care what they do. I'm going to be there for them. And then I'm going to leave them to be there for others. That's the work that you do in the world. That's what you and I are doing. I'm going to leave that message in your hands to get out into the world and bring that truth. And by the way, Jesus was not the only one to do that. Do you know that? Have you read Paramahansa Yogananda? How many have not read Autobiography of a Yogi? Okay, read it again. Every page, third page, is filled with stories of beings appearing to disciples, to best friends. When Sri Yakshwari, the master of Yogananda, died, he sat on the bed with him in his astral form, his ethereal body. He said, I'm here, sweetheart. Go tell others that what we were teaching all this time is not just fantasy. The world is the dream and the fantasy. The truth of being is you live and are and always have been and will be forever and ever women. Now go and do it. Go be it. Try to live from it rather than living from fear. Try to deal with the tension within yourself before you project it out into the world. And just watch and be aware. Don't beat yourself up. Don't judge. Just forgive and forgive and forgive and forgive again as many times as you have to. So what I'm interested in with all this oneness stuff is what am I going to do with this when I leave here? I love all the astral flower stuff and beings and without a body. I'm happening right here. I'm in this form. How does this help me to know that when one realizes that one is the universe, complete and one with existence, consciousness, and bliss, you begin to live your life, every day's energy, in a very different kind of way. How do I bring that oneness into my life? Good question, right? How do I actually apply this, the one showing up in the menu all the time? Well, you do it in simple little everyday things. I sold my Harley Davidson. It's gone. I don't have it anymore. It's not in the garage anymore. The crowd moaned and groaned at the first service. Must have been Harley men. You know how that goes. Oh my God, I can't believe you get rid of the bike. But the bike is gone. It's finished. And what I did was I set me up a Mary Morrissey little ad for it. I love what it said too. It said, perfect bike at perfect price for the perfect person at the right price. Perfect price for the perfect person at the right price. Call me. Well, I only need one person to buy the motorcycle because there's only one here. Yeah, right? When you know that, how do you apply that? Well, the one shows up. The right one shows up all the time. You don't need to have everyone come look at your house. You only need one person to decide they're the one, and you're the one to sell them that house. And time and space collapse, and you exist at that one moment with the right person at the right price. You don't need to have more than one surgeon to tell me they'll do surgery on me. The one will show up. You only need one person to say yes to you. And then the many show up when you get connected to the one in that situation. So I did what you do in the world. It doesn't mean because we know we're all one, then we don't do anything. We just wait. I filled out Craigslist, I wrote up the thing, I put the ad in the paper, and then the world does what it does. The world tries to sell you on giving up your statement and knowing your oneness. It does. I'm not trying to make fun of Southern people, but please excuse me, I make fun of all different nationalities. But people call me up on the phone. You would not believe some of the accents. And, hi, I'm calling about your Craigslist. You got a Harley Davidson for sale there? I'm sitting in my truck. And I'm telling you, I got $3,400 in cash in my pocket right now, and my engine's warmed up, and I'm coming to buy that bike. And I said, that's real good. I'm going to be there in 2 hours. I said, well, good for you. I said, please remember to bring 100 more bucks. Because the bike is not $3,400, it is $3,500. So you bring that, no, I can't do that, you see, because my paycheck and my boss, but I got the $3,400, and I said, you call me. Oh, great being of oneness, when you've got the amount that I'm looking for, and we will meet, and you'll get the motorcycle of your dreams. Believe me. And everyone I talked to tried to talk me out of it, to make me sell short. And there were moments when, after about 30 of these calls, that I got, maybe I should call back the first guy and take the $3,400, and the voice said, don't you dare. Perfect one, perfect price. Perfect moment, right here, right now. The one will show up. And if it takes 6 months, I'll wait. 6 weeks, I'll wait. 6 hours, I'm here. And when the second guy showed up, my good buddy Derek, he opened the door, and there was oneness. We looked at each other, and I went, oh, you're the one. And he goes, yeah, and that's the bike. And I said, yeah. I didn't even have to start it. It was his. The one met the one. See, you think when you're doing stuff with people that you're just doing physical transactions. You buy this, I buy that, you possess this, I possess that, we share this, we share that. The outer means nothing. Our transaction is energetically, each person that we meet. We are the one meeting the one, because we are one in many. All for one and one for all. When it shows up, you know. And then what happens is the real assignment shows up. We start to talk about our lives. He has 5 children. And one of them has autism. And so he has a handicapped child. And he lives with that every day. And I said, well, Maureen and I lived with that every day for 5 years. And we were brothers at that point. The one met the one. And then there was only the one. And we were married together in existence, consciousness, and bliss. And he bought the bike. That's how you apply these things to your life. There's only one of us here. We look like many. But all we are is a bunch of spinal columns attached to brains vibrating at a certain frequency. When you begin to realize that's what we are not physical beings, we are energetic beings, vibrating at a certain level of consciousness. When you keep your vibration at a higher level, then the right thing at the right time shows up to match your vibration. And when it doesn't, you don't lower yours to meet it. You just say, okay, thank you for the great teaching. The one will come. In whatever form she or he or they need to come in, it's going to be in my life. And I will wait as long as it takes for that to happen. I don't care about how long it takes. I'm not always like this, but when I am, it's beautiful. And then it becomes like this sweet dance. The one shows up, and there's the check. The one here's buying the house. There's the car that gets sold. Look at everything you've ever done in your life, and it only took one other being to do that transaction with you. I don't care how much pain, agony you went through, how much you beat yourself up over it. One person bought the house, one person married you, one person gave you the job. We live one by one by one. And when we awaken to the one, we invite it consciously to speed up and show up at our door. That's what we're doing here. Isn't that sweet? Don't you love it? Are you ready to take a little pain? Get some gain? Yeah? Are you ready to own this inside of yourself? Because when you begin to free up the energy in the spinal column, the brain gets flooded with fluid. Corpus callosum, left, right hemispheres come together. Oneness becomes your beacon. And you begin to blast it out to the world. And the world goes, I've been waiting for this. Where have you been? You're just the right person. This is just the right time. You're saying just the right thing to me. That's how the universe works. That's what we do when we celebrate awakening everywhere we go, with every transaction we make. So I want to get to the cantata. This is all sweet and nice, but I want to get to the best part of the whole Easter service. Let's go to it now. So here we are. When one realizes, whoops, that's me. Nobody spoke with me. There we go. I'm going backwards. Nope. Where are we now? One more. No, we're going the wrong way. Where am I going? Back. One. That's that one. That was that one. That was that one. Oh, here we are. All for one, and that's right. I am in the Father, and the Father is in me. And what you do to the least of these, my brethren, you do unto me, because it's only us here. So when one realizes that one is the universe complete, and at one with all existence, consciousness and bliss forever without end, one begins to wake up and say, this day is about this energy that I'm sharing in oneness with others. The second point reminded us, your nervous system attached to the brain is the superhighway of awakening to the presence of oneness within you. Some call it 7 chakras, some call it 12 powers. It doesn't matter. What it says is, God dwells in me as me. God dwells in me as me. Say it with me. God dwells in me as me. I'll know when it shows up in the driveway. Within you exists the entire universe in miniature. Every time you release tension in your body and realize your oneness with God, you have just helped the whole universe remember that truth. You think you're doing it just for yourself, but you're not. You're doing it for everybody. There is no individual work to be done. What is done for the one is done for and the many. That's what Jesus did. What he did for the one, and he did it for all of us. And now we're called upon to do the same thing. And finally, recognize that truth in all of your transactions, large and small. Leave no part out of your circle of oneness. And when Philip told me a cantata was coming, we didn't communicate about what it was actually going to be about. I didn't get it till after I wrote my talk. So when I looked at what he sent me, I went, gee, I wonder if it's going to fit my talk. And of course, we were absolutely vibrating at the same frequency. Listen to this. This is the lyrics to this incredible song. It's part of the lesson summation. Here it comes. It's coming right now. I know it is. It's right there. I'm pushing the button. It's coming right now. There it is. It's right there. And I'm going to, one moment now, go back to the one thing you can rely upon. Never, ever lose the paper trail. Okay? Here it is. We need it. You are, listen to these lyrics, you are the dream of the stars. You are the joy of the sky. You are the fruit of the divine. You are the life of all time. You were made for love. You were made from love. From the beginning, your place in the heavens was holy. In every moment, the heavens are telling your story. You are made for love. You are made of love. It's the one love for all beings, appearing in many different forms. When you begin to see and feel and know that oneness, you begin to bring heaven on earth. And then you become a best friend of the Christ consciousness.